Williams. Veers left. Pulls up, looking for the lead, and got it. Jalen Williams, 2 seconds, 1:11, 1:09. Now SGA, probing, piercing, spinning, hanging for the lead, and SGA knocks it down. The Thunder finally get the defensive stop, and SGA puts them in front.
I'm Kenrich Williams. You're listening to Topic Thunder.
And welcome back, everybody, to another edition of the Topic Thunder podcast. I'm your host, Dylan Hunsinger at Thunder Chats. We're part of the B-Weave Network, and this podcast is brought to you by the good folks at FanDuel Sportsbook. We'll talk plenty about FanDuel during this podcast.
Hopefully not.
Coming up. I actually had a very pleasurable experience at FanDuel last night. So we'll discuss that here in a second.
Sorry, Chelsea.
I do want to say before I introduce Alex and Jerry, who hasn't been on the pod here in a little bit, before I introduce
Why do you always have to put people on blast? Leave us the fuck alone. We're trying, Dylan.
I just want to say that our last two videos performed very well. Now, whether that's Thunder fans or if that's Spurs fans trying to dunk on us, either way, we appreciate your viewership.
Bring it on.
Great. Bring on the
Bring
viewership.
it on. We enjoy your viewership while we win
the
championships.
discourse. Bring it on, man. It's a good time. It's a good time going around here. And hey, after the loss on Christmas Day, the Thunder are back on track. Alex, I don't know if you saw the title to the video. I put now that's Thunder basketball because we're playing Thunder basketball again, baby.
NTTV, baby.
Yeah. Kind of, sort of. Oh, sip it off pepper before we get to
in spurts. We're playing Thunder basketball. We're seeing more Thunder basketball than we have in the past couple of weeks. I will say that. But we are. Let's not bury the lead. I mean, we played the Philadelphia 76ers, and right after that, we played the Atlanta Hawks. Both of them were victorious. They ended in different fashions. They were very different games from start to finish. And overall, in spite of the fact that obviously the Thunder was victorious in both these games, just really fun basketball games. Getting up and down and in transition, and specifically in the Sixers game, and then just some of the most absurd shot making that we've seen in the NBA this season in that Hawks game. So overall, a really fun basketball product to watch. But yeah, Thunder back in the win column. 2 in a row, one more that makes a win streak, as everybody likes to say. We have a chance to do that on New Year's Eve against Portland Trailblazers. First of all, Jerry, I was on, Alex was on, Cone was on since, we had those defeats against the San Antonio Spurs. As you know, the fan base was collectively freaking out. I just want to know, what was your mindset, in the 3-game downfall against the Spurs?
The 3-game downfall. Honestly, I wasn't freaking out at all. We shot like hell, which is going to happen in the NBA every so often. The Spurs have gotten a lot better over the last, year, 2 years. They're a lot better than what they were. And thirdly, it definitely felt like Mark was tinkering a little bit. There wasn't, what we're going to see. Let's just say we do get them first round of the playoffs. I'm just throwing that out there. Doesn't look like it's going to happen because they're playing pretty damn well right now. And if they stay on that, they're going to be near the top of the bracket with us. But it definitely felt like he wasn't trying to show his hand too early. And if there's anything that I've learned about Mark Daigneault in the last, 5 seasons, 6 seasons now? 6 seasons? 7? 6?
It was 2021 when he was hired.
Yeah, somewhere around there. Yeah,
2021, I should say.
Okay, so, coming up on 6 seasons, let's call it. But, the guy plays chess while everyone else plays checkers. And it feels like everyone else this year is definitely playing checkers with us. They're throwing everything and the kitchen sink at us just to even have a close game. And that wasn't the type of basketball that we're used to watching the Thunder play at times. Defensive matchups didn't make sense, which we know Mark is a genius at it. The offense made 0 sense a lot of the game. And did I say we shot like hell? because we shot like hell during that 3-game stretch. It was terrible. We couldn't get him out of that zone. We couldn't do a lot. So no, I wasn't freaking out. And I think I said this in the pre-season pod, when we were talking about predictions and people were making huge stretches with like, oh, we might break the record this year. I was like, I think we're probably going to be pretty close to what we were last year. If not, maybe a game better, a game worse. So I think the national hype and the the media, even us fans, like we kind of really hype that up. Like, oh my God, it's going to happen. We won, what was it, like
16 in a row.
Yeah. You win that many games in a row, you're going to get a lot of crazy shit said about your team. And then whenever you do lose, it's like, oh my gosh, is it over? It's like that Warriors team that year. I'm pretty sure whenever they lost, what was it, after number 22? Something like that?
24.
Dang, Alex, just an encyclopedia over here. Love it. But like after they lost, like the same sort of stuff was being said about them. You know what I mean? Because I'm sure they lost like a game or two pretty quick. You know what I mean? Within that stretch. So yeah, I'm not. How many games are we in? I don't even know. Like
33.
My life's a blur right now.
God, Alex really is on top of it, man. That's crazy.
Thank you, Alex. No, but we're not even halfway through the season. Not pressed about it at all. And everyone needs to quit being too high and getting too low on this stuff because this team has already proven what they're capable of. And we literally brought back the same exact team. So they're definitely capable. Some things that I've seen in the last like couple weeks with Thunder basketball, we definitely have been playing our brand of defense.
No.
It has not been there. Weird switches. Where normally it felt like last year we were more fighting over the screen to make sure that we hedge that, the guy with the ball out versus going under. It's just a lot of weird stuff. You know what I mean on that stretch. And I don't know if that's planned, I guess, to kind of, give their bodies a rest and not get their asses kicked as hard as they have, and missing games because we've already – I don't even know how many lineups we played, Alex. How many lineups have we played this year?
117.
Yeah, it feels like a lot. You know what I mean? Out of those 33 games, I bet we've played pretty close to like at least half of those with different lineups. Pretty.
He said
close.
that with such conviction. I just believed him.
Yeah, I'm not gonna argue with him.
If you could check while Jerry's talking, that'd be crazy. But
yeah, no, but it's
pretty sure it's more than that. But
yeah, but we have a lot of different lineups that we played. So, due to injuries, and guys missing out. So, yeah, not freaking out about it. Do I want this last one against him or these last two against him? Absolutely, I do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I do want those two because I think those are more valuable than the ones that we're playing November, December. That's why I'm kind of grateful that our schedule was built kind of easy. You know what I mean? That first month, you know what I mean, of the season, month and some change really. And now it's starting to kind of ramp up because we get to see everyone's growth really and truly as we go.
Yeah. No, it's good to have some adversity because that was kind of the issue in the Denver series in the playoffs. Like, we was still in position to win the game in game one, but once we faced some adversity there late in the game and even game two, that was, or not game two, game three, that was when, we started to like kind of fumble over ourselves because we didn't have a lot of experience in close games. We didn't have a lot of experience in clutch games. So it's good to get reps in this type of atmosphere, this type of environment. Like, good.
We learned so much from that Denver series that we just went ahead and repeated it in the finals and with the Indiana series. So yeah, we learned so much there.
I mean, hey, And it's valuable experience to have. And, now we are getting, I mean, it's no secret. We're getting every team's best shot. Like I was talking to Jerry earlier today. Like, he's like, I love that we're every team's Super Bowl. Like, Minnesota is ready to throw a party. Like, Chet, like, Wemby is literally like screaming at the top of his lungs when Chet misses a free throw. Like, the hate is generational for us right now. So, like, we are getting every team's best shot and then some. Like, look at what the Spurs did to us in the last two games, and then look at what they did the last two games they played. They lost to the Jazz, and they lost to the Cavs. Cavs are a formidable team, but they're not as good as us. Like, they gave us their best shot. They gave all of themselves to win those games. So again, as Jerry was saying, chess first checkers, we appreciate you, playing all your cards to, to beat us in the regular season, and hopefully, we can take that and apply it to the postseason. But
my thing, just real quick.
Yeah.
So the expectation for greatness is perfection. That's always been the expectation. And so, when you come out the gate, what was it, 24-1, and you look like you're gangbusters, you're going to go ahead and just run, roughshod over the whole league. Whenever you have a stretch where you go, 1-3 or something like that, or 2-5 or 2-4, whatever we went over these last couple of games, it does seem a little bit like, oh my gosh, the sky is falling. But Sam Presti's always said that every season there's at least one or two times every regular season where the sky is falling for your team. Last year for us, it was right before the All-Star break, whenever Chet came back, and we lost a couple games to Minnesota. And it was like, yo, this team has figured this out. This team is going to get us in the playoffs. And we saw what happened in the playoffs in the Western Conference Finals.
Belt to ass.
We are 28-5. Guess what we were last year at this time? 28-5.
Really?
We have the same record this year as we did last year at this point in the season.
Alex on top of it, man.
Yeah, encyclopedia.
But I'm just saying, like, it's just like, like I said last time, calm down, people. Like, it's, we may not get 74 wins. Oh my gosh, we may get 68, 69 wins, and and just kind of like be on par from last year. So, it is what it is. We're going to be okay. And now that, now that we know that some injuries have also played on other teams, I think we're going to go ahead and build this lead in the, on the NBA standings and on the Western Conference standings. And I think we're going to go ahead and coast, in February and March, because we're going to be so far ahead.
So Alex, we have already gone about 15 minutes now. I know that you are on a time constraint, so I want to go ahead.
I'm good.
Yeah.
Keep going.
No, I was going to get into this anyways, but instead of like our normal single large item, we're still going to take turns talking about it, but instead of talking about like a certain player performance, it can be that, but I want you to talk about something that stood out to you that was different in these past two games that you saw, in the past couple of weeks. Like what's kind of stood out to you as a change?
Welcome back, Thunder third quarters. That's what I saw in these last two games. It's like, I didn't really like what was happening in the first half. Some of that may be just shot variance, just guys, players just shooting, the rock just completely, crazy. Some of it could be the Thunder's just like kind of lazy, lackadaisical defense. But coming out of halftime, when adjustments have to be made, when that your defense has to be ratcheted up in order to, put the game away before the fourth quarter, or, put the game away, or put yourself in a position to where the fourth quarter isn't quite as grueling as it could be. It was good to see the Thunder come in third quarter, outscore the team by like 20 points, and go ahead and coast in the fourth quarter of the Sixers game and put themselves in a good enough lead in the Atlanta game to where, Atlanta did make a push, but you were so far ahead that it was okay. So it's good to see that Thunder defense in the third quarter. It's good to see that it's still there. And just good to see that. Like, it's something that we've been missing here over the past 2 weeks when it came to the San Antonio game, where, for those first couple of games, you're like, okay, they're down, they're going to come back, and it never came back. And they were eventually kind of blown out. And so it's something that we haven't seen at all this season. And so it's good to see that third quarter, defensive push that we usually have. And it led us to the victory in both games. So good to see that.
In the Sixers game, we outscored the Sixers by 14 in the third quarter. Guess how many we outscored the Hawks by in the third quarter?
14.
Jerry?
I was going to say, I thought it was closer to like 17, 18.
It was 14.
Was it really
It was 14, both of them,
Okay.
yeah.
I thought it was more.
How
So
dare you go against me?
I know I shouldn't have.
He's on a roll tonight, man.
Yeah,
He's
I
killing
definitely
it.
shouldn't have.
Alex, quick, lottery numbers. Yeah, no, I mean, the third quarter.
FanDuel.com.
Absolutely. The third quarter has been a strength for the Thunder the past few years. And yeah, that's definitely been something that we've kind of been expecting and we haven't seen these past couple of weeks. Like, I'd have to like pull up what the Minnesota game was, but like specifically the Spurs game, it was like, that was always the solace. Like, okay, like, you know, cut it down to like single digits, get it down to like 10 or 11 going into halftime, and then come out of halftime and like, you know, play your brand of basketball, play Thunder basketball, like go in and, you know, own the third quarter. And it just wasn't happening. Like, you know, you would make a push, but it felt like every shot, like the Spurs had an answer. Like, and again, like we talked about on the pod, you know, in those games, it felt like the effort wasn't really there, especially defensively, and forcing turnovers and then getting out in transition, because that's how a lot of these third quarter runs are built, is by forcing turnovers and getting out in transition, whether that's, you know, easy looks at the basket or kick outs to wide open threes or, you know, run out threes or something like that. Like, that's kind of what was missing these past couple of weeks. So yeah, I'm right there with you, man. It was a blast to get to see that. I don't remember if it was in the third quarter, but I know specifically a lot of the fourth quarter, and I think they did get some around the third quarter. You got to see Cookies and Cream really unleashed in terms of like just getting out there and like creating havoc, forcing turnovers. Like, I put out on Twitter, like, you know, Cookies and Cream was like a very prevalent like duo in the playoffs, and, you know, a lot of the regular season down the stretch last season. You know, we're like, as you said, 33 games into the season. This is the first game I really felt like, you know, that duo has worked as well together as they did in the playoffs. Like, it feels like the most disruptive game they've had this season, and it showed. Like, we needed all of those turnovers, we needed all those transition points that they created. So yeah, I'm loving the third quarter explosions.
That's what she said.
I would say with me, it was, and everyone can hate me for saying this, so I don't care. But it seemed like we were catching more of a fair whistle these last two games than the prior four that we lost. Like, I don't care what anyone says. That Minnesota game was terribly officiated. Terribly officiated. 2 out of the 3 Spurs games. The one that we got blown out, what was it? The one in the cup. That one was the only one that I'll be like, yeah, we just played like absolute dog shit. You know what I mean? That game.
That was the closest one, I think, wasn't it? The cup game.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was. But like those other 2, like, it just made no sense. You know what I mean? There's a lot of stuff that made no sense at all.
Yeah, the game in San Antonio, we had 7 free throws total as a team.
Total.
Nuts.
Yeah, which is just wild. And what was the Minnesota had 37, I believe, in that game.
Yeah, now the one game that Chris Finch, you know, scared the officials into like, you know, we got to give him the whistle.
Yeah, baby back bitch. Can't stand him. And I'm a firm believer. I'll say this again: if you're a Wolves fan and you listen, your coach is weak. That's why your team is weak when it comes down to getting into the playoffs. They can't get through the Western Conference Finals. And you've benefited every single year from like really bad injuries to even get to the Western Conference Finals. You haven't had to be tested at all, so piss off. But I truly do think that it was a better officiating. You know what I mean, across these games, and I think that was refreshing, because as a fan, it's super frustrating to me, at least. I don't care what game I'm watching, you know, whether it's football, you know, basketball. I hate when officials aren't consistent. It drives me absolutely insane. Like, you have one job to be unbiased and consistent in your calling, and I felt like the last 2 games specifically, they were way more consistent. The fouls were fouls, you know, for both teams. We weren't getting these really light whistles that we got during that losing stretch that we had there. So, like I said, it's a really fickle I guess you could say, argument or discussion, but I truly believe in it. I mean, with all the stuff that happens with NBA gambling now and FanDuel and all these other gambling sites, no, you'd be pressed to not say that there's some influence in that. You'd be a liar to say that there's not some influence in that. We would all hope not as fans, but there is some influence in that. I don't care what anybody says.
We've literally had 2 scandals in the past 2 seasons, 2 gambling scandals. So
yeah, so it's it's something that I think that is there, and I think, and this is just my honest opinion, I think sports gambling outside of Vegas or Atlantic City is stupid. We need to get rid of it.
Hey, you leave my money alone, sir.
No, dude. I think it takes away from the integrity of the game. I truly think it does. And I hate, being such a basher on it when we're, sponsored by a website that does this, but I think the officiating gets influenced by that also. I just definitely think it does. So, and the league, I mean, they do have narratives that they want to fill. That's just point blank period. They want to fill certain narratives. And this whole Wemby situation, you know what I mean? Like, they want him to be the greatest. He's not. Just breaking that down to you guys now, he's not going to be that great. I'll be surprised if he'd last another 6 seasons. Yeah, wild take, but I'm probably going to be right. You don't have blood clots in your shoulder at 19 years old, 20 years old. You just don't. Those are things that you keep growing at the rate that he does. There was a guy that was 8 foot something, you know what I mean, back in the day, kept growing, died whenever he was 30, maybe like 32, somewhere around there. So I don't know. I just don't see it with Wemby. I just went on like a weird tangent there, but it's just
Hey,
the league is weird right now.
They called me crazy when I said Zion was a bust in his draft, so I feel your pain, Jerry. Yeah. I guess my big thing that I was most excited to see was see Chet not be scared anymore, man. Like, I don't know what it is with Wemby. In the past, it felt like he's been able to, still like make the most of his matchup, even with Wemby out there. But it's not just the fact of him missing shots and him being inefficient. It's the fact that he's just not taking shots. Like, in the past 2 games, he shot 17 against the Sixers, and against the Hawks, he shot 14 against the Hawks. He didn't get double-digit field goal attempts, I think, one time against the Spurs. And, like, obviously, like, I get it. Wemby's a good defender, but, like, he's out here hitting 1-foot fall-aways on you. He's hitting, pull-up three-pointers. Like, he's crashing the boards and, finishing through contact. Like, he's trying. And, like, again, like, I know Wemby's a good defender and everything, but as we've said all season, the best Chet is an aggressive Chet. And, if you have another guy that can attack the rim, as opposed to Shea, as opposed to Dub, like, it opens up so much more things for your offense. And if you're attacking, the rim, then teams have to, guard you honestly, and it opens up your 3-point shot. And didn't even feel like he really got to his 3-point shot a lot, because it felt like his confidence was so shaken by the matchup, and his shot was shaken, and then his whole game went off. So it was good to see him be aggressive. It was good to see him get his confidence back. He had 29-9 against the Sixers, 24-9 against the Hawks the other night. Had some really big plays. He had one play where he got the rebound, fell to the ground, got up, and still finished the shot.
That was wild.
And then he's getting back to, obviously iHeart got hurt in the Sixers game, but even before he got hurt, like, you could see that Chet, the rim deterrent, was like fully back. He had 4 blocks against the Sixers, and he had 3 blocks against the Hawks. So it was 2 really good performances for a Chet Holmgren get back game. And, with iHeart already rolled out for the Blazers, I'm excited to see what Chet does on New Year's Eve, if he can keep this going, keep this string of good play going, this aggressive play going, and continue to build his confidence. And I just want him to keep his confidence growing until the next matchup with the Spurs. So maybe next time he will shoot double-digit field goal attempts against Wemby.
Yeah, I think that and this is just my observation this season. I feel like he's worked so hard on his 3-point shot, this offseason to kind of really try to stretch the floor. And that it's kind of like the aggressiveness has taken a seat back because, a guy his size doesn't need aggressiveness to do a pick and pop, you know what I mean? Or anything like that. Like it's just catch ball, shoot. And like you said, the last 2 games, he has been a lot more assertive, you know what I mean? And trying to get to the rim, trying to go do those things. So maybe that was something that they caught on film. Or like, hey, dude, you got to figure this out because what you did for the last 4 games that we lost were terrible. So the Chet dominance was great, and the efficiency with it, I think, was super duper impressive. Super impressive.
Yeah, I hope it's not fool's gold. And I know it hasn't been. Like, here's the thing: great players, to be considered great, you got to do great against great players. And so he didn't do too well against Wemby, and I don't know if that's I don't know if that's figuring it out because even though they've been in the league together for like 3 years now, like they haven't really played against each other that much. Either one of them is injured or the other one is injured, and so you've had maybe like 2 or 3 matchups together, amongst all the matchups over the last 3 seasons between these 2 guys.
Yeah.
And so, Chet did great one game, I think, when they played against each other, but he hasn't been very good the rest of the time, against him. And so I don't know if that's a mental thing. I don't know if it's a thing where like, maybe Chet does see him as like, this is the guy that, is my equal, and I need to perform well against him, and it gets in his head, and he doesn't do that well. Like, he needs to go ahead and use all the things in his offensive bag against Wembanyama. If the 3-pointer's there, take the shot. If you drive and you're able to do like a midi, take that. If you're able to get inside, if you grab an offensive rebound, go up strong. Like, it's just a situation where you have to put the pressure on Wembanyama in order to get him moving around on defense, maybe get him in foul trouble, but you have to be the aggressor. You have to put the pressure on that. Yeah, you're like 3 inches shorter than him, and you're 3 inches shorter than nobody in the league other than Wembanyama. But he has to be more aggressive when it comes to that. He has to take his shots quicker. He has to drive in and take middies whenever he can. And so I think I'm hoping that, those meetings in January and February, he looks a little bit different than he did for all the meetings in December.
Yeah, I will say, like, the intensity that Wemby like approaches Chet with, it could be jarring. Like, I could see it like, throwing you off just because, like, obviously, like, you're competitors and you're going out there and you're trying to, quote unquote, kill the guy in front of you. But like Wemby kind of takes it to another level, and like that could just be something that's thrown Chet off. I mean, I don't know. Maybe he's just got to adjust to it because as much as the rivalry's kind of been trying to be forced these past couple seasons, it feels like it's at like an all-time high in terms of like, the intensity of it this season. So I think it could just be a Chet adjustment period. But like I said, like hopefully these next like stretch of games until the next time we play the Spurs, he just continues to build his confidence because, I mean, he has had a great season. And I get sick of seeing Spurs fans, NBA fans, even Thunder fans, like diminish what Chet's done this season based on his performance against Wemby. Like Chet's had the best season of his career this year. Like he has in many of these games, he's had phenomenal games on both sides of the floor. I think he's a much more improved rebounder than he has been in his career. Like he's got a quicker shot. He's more confident on the ball. Like so many more things have improved in Chet's game. And I don't think that we should take that away based on how he's done against Wemby. Even if he struggles again against Wemby, like, is it concerning at that point? Yeah. But like, it still doesn't take it away from the rest of the season.
Good thing is,
see, and I would disagree. I would disagree on that part just because like Wemby is a freak.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? He is a freak. I'm trying to think of somebody. It's like Shaq versus Yao. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Those games back in the day. Shaq always struggled. You know what I mean? A lot. Not saying that it happened every single game, but he struggled a lot against Yao. And vice versa. Other times, Yao would struggle against Shaq. I think that there's always the villain. You know what I mean? There's like the good guy villain sort of situation in the NBA. and sometimes you're the villain and sometimes you're the superhero. And Chet's just getting his villain right now, where he's just getting his butt kicked. You know what I mean? By the end of the comic book, he'll be just fine. Like I can't even believe I haven't been on Twitter a lot lately at all. I just haven't been, but I can't believe like he would even be catching any flack on that, because Dylan, what you just said is 100. Like, he's playing out of his gourd. You know what I mean? In every other aspect of the game. Just we'll figure it out. And basketball, at the end of the day, this isn't a Chet versus Wemby thing. This is a Thunder versus Spurs thing. If we make it about one player, you know what I mean? I know the NBA likes to do that and the media likes to do that, but it's the Thunder versus the Spurs, and it takes all 5 guys on the court, you know what I mean? And anybody else that comes into the game to will their team to victory one way or another. You know, I think a lot of people forget about how fucking terrible our bench was during that stretch. Absolutely atrocious. You know what I mean? They were just not good at all. Finally, well, that and there was, you know, I think us not having J Will is a big impact, just because he is so multifaceted. But and what he brings just from a vocal standpoint on defense is huge. I think those things get taken for granted a little bit too much in the NBA. But when was it? Alex Caruso, was it the last Spurs game, went 1 for 10 from the field?
He was over 8 before he made one, man. God.
Yeah, 1 for 10. I think Wiggins was like 2 for like 8 that game. There's more to it than Chet versus Wemby. I say all that to say it's more than Chet versus Wemby. And if we want to win these games, it's going to take everybody. It doesn't matter if we're playing them or the Kings. You know, it's the NBA. And the Hawks gave us a scare last night. You know what I mean? For a long time, they gave us a scare.
And
because it's the NBA.
We're going to talk about that game here on the other side of our break. Real quick, guys, as I mentioned, we are sponsored by FanDuel. I just gotta give a little shout out to what happened last night. We talk about Chet having such a great performance the past couple games.
This gloating motherfucker,
dude. I put out my losses. I got to put up my wins too. So last night I got a nice little parlay action. It was plus 630. Wasn't nothing crazy. I felt pretty good about this one. Shea 25, Chet 20, Dub 15, Chet 8 rebounds, Dub 4 rebounds, Shea 4 assists, and Dub 4 assists. Now, that hit pretty early. All I needed was one Chet rebound to hit like a plus 5,000, and I didn't get it. I went to bed. I'm like, you know what? Whatever. I want a parlay. I'm good. Whatever. Woke up, found out they actually corrected the stat, and they gave Chet the additional rebound. So I won the plus 56.76 with Shea 30, Chet 20, Dub 20, Chet 10 rebounds, Dub 6 rebounds, Shea 6 assists, Dub 4 assists, $5.288. Not a bad day at the office, I just got to say. You can make those types of bets and more on your favorite sportsbook site, FanDuel Sportsbook. Do that today. And we're back after our break.
Hey, got to cheer the victories on, man.
Absolutely. They don't. Hey, they're few and far between. I have way too many that lose by one leg. So like when they hit, I've got to put them out there. Which, by the way, Jaylen Brown, step your crap up. I need 25 tonight. Anyways, talking about the Hawks, being able to weather the storm against the Hawks. That was another big takeaway I had last night, because as we kind of alluded to early in the podcast, guys, some of the shot making that was happening last night in the Hawks game was absolutely absurd. You had freaking Risa Shea hitting curl threes. You had Luke Kennard hitting and one corner threes. You had Nikhil hitting left-handed half-court shots at the buzzer. You had Vit Krejci, Thunder legend he is, banking shots in at the end of the shot clock. Like, you had the
Okongwu was hitting.
Okongwu hit 3 of 6 from the three-point line. Like, the Atlanta Hawks literally hit 25 three-pointers. They shot 46.3 from the three-point line. It was absolutely nuts. And through all of that, like, you talk about the third quarter and how we was able to like put together, a vintage Thunder third quarter. As I mentioned, we outscored them by 14, but they were still able to hang around the game just because of the 3-point shooting.
Mm-hmm.
And it felt like as soon as we got it to 15, they cut it back down to 9. They cut it back down to 7. And I think they even got it as close to 4 points at one point in the game.
I think it was 5 or 4.
Yeah, it was like 4 or 5 points in the game. And it was all due to 3-point shooting. And, luckily, the team, was unaffected. They took every shot on the chin and they went back down and they delivered another one. And with Shea on the bench, with Shea on the floor, it didn't matter. The guys were, they were, taking it in stride. I thought Dub played a really solid game as a playmaker and also as a self-creator. I thought that was a big improvement that I've seen over the last few games. Even the Sixers game, Dub did a lot better in the self-creating and creating for his teammates. As we mentioned, Chet was awesome. AJ's been good off the bench. These past couple games, good to see him back out there. Wasn't as efficient in the Hawks game, but his presence and his rim pressure is definitely welcome out there, and it was huge in keeping them at arm's length. Caruso shot making, as we mentioned, Cason Wallace's disruption. Cason turning in his best game of the season with 17 points and 7 rebounds, and then of course Shea just checking in and just absolutely just closing the door. 6 minutes left in the game, hits a step back 3 almost immediately, gets 2 assists. And I think both of them were threes. One was to Caruso and one was to, I believe, Cason as well. And there's 9 points created by the MVP in 6 minutes of action when we need it the most. And, the Thunder end up winning this game. And, Jerry, whenever we was previewing these games after the Christmas Day matchup, it was like, Sixers, Hawks, Blazers are our next 3. These are very winnable games, but these are very formidable opponents. These are teams that have beaten good teams in this league. These are teams that have really talented players all across the roster. The Hawks were missing Trae Young, Jalen Johnson, Kristaps Porzingis, and Nikhil's still out there dropping 30. Vit Krejci has had a great year. As you mentioned, Okongwu, he had a 26-point double-double. The NBA is as talented as it has been, and we was able to still survive the 3-point shooting various to be victorious in those 2 games. And we'll see how we fare against the Portland Trail Blazers, but all in all, I was encouraged by these last 2 games, and it started to feel like we was, for lack of a better term, kind of getting our soul back.
I think that's 110% correct. If you look at, I'm just looking at the point differentials right now, and look at the Hawks -1.5. Look at the Sixers plus 0.1 is where they're at. The Blazers, they're a possession, 3.3. Minus 3.3.
Mm-hmm.
Until you get to really down in the league, there's a lot of nuance this year, it feels like, versus what there was last year. I don't know how to say it other than that, but any given Sunday, someone can get you. And whenever you're everybody's Super Bowl, you got to come in and try to bust heads. It's just what you got to do. I don't know. This Blazers team, I'm just going to say, scares the piss out of me. They rebound very well, on both ends. And they're scrappy. They like to play defense. And if you're in the NBA, you can shoot. There's dudes that are better shooters but can't do anything else that play in Europe, or amazing shooters and don't play defense worth a lick that play in Russia. There's the NBA is so much better than it's probably the best it's been in ever the last 4 or 5 years. So, I think that finding our groove and getting it back. Especially, you look at our schedule for the next month, after we get through tomorrow, we have
15 games in January.
Yeah, Warriors, Suns, Hornets, Jazz, Grizzlies, Heat, Spurs, Rockets, Heat again, Cavs, Bucks, Pacers, Raptors, who are playing very well, Pelicans, Wolves to close out, the month of January. So I count that up. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, maybe 8 to 9 teams that are playoff teams that we have to play in the month of January.
And the ones that aren't playoff teams are ones that will get you if you are sleeping. Like Hornets have firepower. The Jazz absolutely have firepower. The Pacers, as we saw early in the season, like they are a scrappy team. They will, they'll out hustle you. And the Pelicans, they're finally getting healthy. With Zion back, I think they beat the Knicks. Was it last night or the night before? They beat the Knicks at the Garden, and they were fully healthy. So, the NBA, it doesn't matter what your record is. There's talent across all these rosters, and you have to bring it every night. And
they lost, by the way, by 5.
They did lose. Okay, well, I knew it was close. I do remember they came back because I was tracking that status spread.
Yeah, the Knicks are like cockroaches, dude. Like from New York, cockroaches. They just never die. Like they just somehow find a way to come back with no time left.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, it'll definitely be a test with the quality of opponents and also the schedule, because I'm trying to see. So we got one back-to-back. Looks like we only have one back-to-back, but there's a lot of not a lot of rest in between any of these games.
Oh, and that's the other thing I think that we forget about in December for us specifically. Let me see. We played 4 games in 5 nights.
Mm-hmm.
During
Thanks NBA for that.
Yeah, so we played the Clippers, lost the Wolves, beat the Clippers, lost the Wolves, beat the Grizzlies, and then lost to the Spurs. You know what I mean? All within and if you want to get technical, we played
5 and 7.
5 and 7, which is just absolutely diabolical.
That's all over the place too.
Yeah, that's a really hard schedule to get through. I don't care what team it is. You know what I mean? That's a very hard schedule to get through. And a lot of people are like, well, they lost that many in a row. Well, guess what, motherfuckers? In the playoffs, there's 2 there, or 2 here, 2 there, 1, 1, 1. You know what I mean? There's not too much nuance. You know what I mean? Like there is during a regular season schedule. Yeah. So, I'm just grateful that we're not going to get our heads reamed with a bunch of back-to-backs. Do I like watching Thunder basketball back-to-back nights? Absolutely, I do.
Mm-hmm.
Do I like the results of it more times than not? No, I don't. Don't like it.
Back-to-backs also make podcasting hard because you're like, we could record on the first night of the back-to-back on our normal day, or we could just move the day and cover the back-to-back. It puts us in a little bit of a conundrum on that front, but it'll be fun to see. And Jerry, let's make predictions real quick. So let's just look at our next 10 games. So we got the Blazers, we got the Warriors, who have been playing a lot better here recently. The Suns, the Hornets, the Jazz, the Grizzlies. That is 6 games. So Heat, Spurs, Rockets, Heat again. What do you think our record is in those 10 games?
Realistically, I think we go 8-2 in that stretch. And the only reason why I'm giving it that is we travel a lot. During that stretch, we travel a lot. We're kind of everywhere. I mean, we go from San Francisco to Phoenix, from Phoenix back home, stay home for 2 games. We go to Memphis, come back home for 2 games, go to Houston, go to Miami during that stretch.
And I didn't include it in the 10 games, but then we go to Cleveland and then Milwaukee. That's a little bit of a road trip on that front.
Yeah. So I think realistically, this team has it in them to go 8-2. If we I mean, I hope we go 10-0. I think this team, and I think that's the most frustrating part from a fan perspective. Like, it's going to happen. You know, I mean, we're going to lose. It's going to happen. But I think whenever you're not getting, you know, your full clip every single night, I think that's the real frustrating part. And I think if we can give everybody our best shot, you know, 8-2, I think we I'm looking at the, you know, the games. We probably, if we lose, you know, one of these games, it's probably either that Suns. It's probably that Warriors or Suns game. One of the two, because that Suns team is super scrappy. They're super duper scrappy. And then I'm looking forward to that Rockets game. I want to see kind of how we adjust to that. You know, from the game, you know, the first, was that the first game of the season? Yeah, from the first game of the season.
Yeah, and that's in Houston too. So we always play weird games in Houston.
Yeah, but I do want to see us 7-3, 8-2, somewhere around there is what I predict.
Yep. I think 8-2 is a solid prediction. I will. I'm gonna go 9-1, just like say I'm more optimistic than you.
Hey, that's fine. You know, it doesn't happen often because, you know, I'm such a homer, but it's just, this team is great. Like, they really are. I mean, even getting blown out by 20 twice, you know what I mean, this season, we're still a plus 14.2 on the point differential, which is absolutely crazy. And we're leading the league by like a full 7 points. You know what I mean? In that. So, like,
it's crazy because we can at both points be like head and shoulders above the rest of the league and all these metrics, but also like we just got punched in the mouth 3 times in a row. Even your leader saying like we need to look in the mirror, we need to, like, you know, take stock on what's happened and make the appropriate changes. And like we had a wake up call in the middle of the season. Like, you know, we talked about the championship hangover, and we haven't really experienced that. And felt like we experienced it in those past 2 weeks. But now, for all intents and purposes, it feels like that the team has kind of woke up from that, and it feels like they're responding to that. And if they continue to respond to that, you know, like you were saying, like it's not impossible for this team to just rip off 10 straight and just, you know, go through that entire stretch undefeated. So I'm going to believe that they've learned their lesson. They are getting healthier, and, you know, they're playing the right way again, and they're gonna string out some wins, and they're gonna remind the league, they're gonna remind their opponents that they're still that top dog.
Yeah, and I'm trying to look at something real quick. Because it feels like this is like way worse than last year, like just from the eye test, and I haven't looked at any of it, but I think I'm right. Now we're about middle of the pack. I was looking at the rebounding numbers because that's what it feels like has really been our Achilles heel this year. Is rebounding. Like, we just, I don't know. Tell me what your eye sees, but like my eye sees last year, it felt like on the offensive end, we crashed the boards a lot more. And it wasn't necessarily like a big guy doing it. Like, I feel like I remember Kaysen, like pretty much any time the ball went up, he was running down and doing something, whether he was slapping that thing back or just, you know, trying to bulldog somebody and take it away from them. It felt like we had a lot more of that than what we do this year. Like I said, I could be completely crazy with that. It just feels that way. And then what else has felt kind of funny this year?
My thing is I'm glad that we are back to full court pressuring teams, like not the entire game, but like just having that wrinkle to throw at them to take teams out of their offense, to make them like think just a little bit harder, make them work just a little bit harder to get into their offense, take a little bit more time into the shot clock before they can actually run sets. That was something that I thought was really missing in the San Antonio games. And, San Antonio has 3 guys that can, handle and make the ball. And, maybe that is why it wasn't as effective, but I also feel like we just didn't try as much. So, I hope that is something that we carry into the next matchups.
So kind of a crazy stat that I just found over here. Deflections per game, we lead the league with almost 23. Guess how many loose balls recovered we have?
You said 23 was the deflections?
Yep.
I must say 17.
Loose balls we get off of that? 5.
Oh, my bad.
It felt like last year that was something that was just, you know what I mean? Like if we got a tip, it was ours. You know what I mean? Like it feels like a lot of stuff too. It's just because sometimes sports are about luck. You know what I mean? Like there is a luck factor into it. And it's definitely felt like a lot of the tips and stuff and the disruptions that we made just haven't bounced our way this season. And where it felt like last year was like every single one, you know what I mean, went our way no matter what. Actually, let me go back to last season real quick.
You can do that on NBSstats.com.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. So let's see here.
I actually don't think it's NBAstats.com, but you get the point.
Yeah, NBA.com/stats.
Yeah.
And of course, it doesn't want to load.
Don't you love that?
Let me go back. No, but I just find that interesting. You know what I mean? Like, what are we? What's actually going on here with that? Like, were we just getting pure luck? Yeah, we had almost 6. We had almost 6 last year, which, like, if we compare that to this year, the Pistons and the Rockets both are the only 2 teams over 6. And they have the best percentage on that too, like the Pistons and the Rockets. How in the fuck are the Warriors deflecting 20 balls a game? That's crazy.
Draymond, I guess.
Yeah, right. So there's just little stuff that just seems different this year so far.
Yeah, and I do think, even though we was beating teams so badly early in the season, I don't think that the same level of energy and hustle and intensity was being met as what we was last year, because we didn't win last year. And, this team's still hungry. Obviously, like, they still have a lot to prove, and they still have a lot of people that want to prove wrong, but you just can't be as hungry when, you've already had a little bit of a taste.
You went to the buffet already and tried everything on the buffet line. Like,
yeah. So
you know what I mean?
I do think that's part of it. And that's, that kind of goes back to the lack of effort and that I've kind of seen the past couple of weeks. But again, it feels like we're starting to get back in the right direction.
Yes.
The intensity is definitely ramping up. The ball pressure is definitely ramping up, which turns into transition points, and that's one of our superpowers. Like that's how you get back to playing Thunder basketball. That's how you get on these Thunder avalanches, thunderstorm, whatever you want to call them. That's how you get on those runs that are so deadly, in the middle of the game or even at the end of the game. So hopefully that is a trend that continues. And with that being said, Jerry, I mean, the only other news that kind of has dropped here recently, in the dead Thunder period is Nikola Jokic obviously it was announced today that he has a knee injury. He's going to miss at least 4 weeks. I've seen some people saying it could be up to 6. Obviously, we want Jokic to feel better. He's one of the best players in the world. It's going to be interesting to see how the Nuggets play without them. We'll see if what the Nuggets fans are saying are true about how bad the team is without Jokic. That will be fun to see. But what this does is it likely takes him out of basically all award conversations. It's probably going to take him out of the 65-game rule. So that is your All-NBA and that is your MVP voting. So it is not impossible that Shea goes back-to-back for MVP. He's currently the favorite right now with Jokic pretty much being kicked out of the race. And I've seen some chatter online that it's not impossible that we could be looking at another unanimous MVP for Shea if this team is able to, get back to that dominance that we saw early in the season. And, if you win 70 games and Shea is still continuing this pace, like I know you guys are saying 68, 69, whatever. I'm just saying if you get the round number, the arbitrary number that, the voters want to see in 70 games and Shea's still, putting up 32 points per game on almost or at 50, 40, 90 shooting, we could be looking at another unanimous MVP.
Yeah, no, right now he's 55, almost 56, almost 42, and 88. Those stats right there. So at this point, and I talked about this earlier, who else is there? Right. You know what I mean? There's really not anybody else that I can definitively be yeah, you know what I mean? He can heat this race up. I mean, again, we're almost halfway through the season. There hasn't been anybody kind of wow us. I mean,
bro, guess what FanDuel has his odds at?
Who's
Shea's odds now for MVP?
Oh, it's got to be plus 70, something like that.
You're right on the minus. It's minus 425. Which whenever Jokic was healthy, they were one was plus 190 and one was minus 190, whichever the favorite was at the time. So this is a heavy favorite.
I went
the next highest.
Yeah, sorry, I went the wrong
direction. The next highest is no, you're good. The next highest, the second favorite is Luka at plus 430. That's a 855 point swing.
Yeah.
When it comes to the odds.
Ain't happening, dog. Ain't happening.
Do you know who the third guy is?
As of right now, right here, right now.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man.
You picked him to lead the league in assists.
Oh yeah, it's got to be Cade. Yeah, I'd say he's playing out of his freaking gourd right now. That whole team is kudos to the Pistons, man.
Plus 5,000.
Yeah, he's playing out of his gourd. The only thing that sucks is he just won't get it just from he doesn't have the flashy points. You know what I mean? He's just kind of just solid all the way across the board.
Yeah, he's a little bit like Shea in the consistency factor. He's kind of 25 to 32-ish with the assists on top of it, but he's not as I wouldn't say he's as impactful as Shea is on the defensive side of the ball, and also just the clutch situations. He's up there. He's close to Shea, but yeah, Shea's killing it.
Guess what team has the most clutch wins this season?
Is it the Pistons?
The Pistons.
Yeah.
We're not even close on that list, which that's a good thing for the position that we're in. But
yeah, Cade's actually the favorite for Clutch Player of the Year, plus 210, slight favorite over Shea at plus 240.
Yeah. So it's shout out Pistons, man. I watched one of their games last week.
Mm-hmm.
They're really fun, and they play good, solid ball. They play good basketball. Or as Wimby would say, I don't even remember because he's French and he sounds stupid. What was his? We play wholesome basketball. Is that the
ethical?
Ethical. Thank you. Yes, they play ethical basketball.
That's the term people like throwing around nowadays,
which is hilarious. Again, I love how I don't know what it is. I've been trying to figure it out, why the media hates us so much, no matter what. You know what I mean? Even you remember during the finals, you know what I mean? You had what's her nuts on the broadcast was just slobbing all over the Pacers, the whole game. And we would rally off, 12-0. Oh my gosh, the Pacers. Go look at Tyrese Halliburton's dad. He just, you know what I mean? they just hate us so
This
much.
is why they call Shea a free throw merchant.
Yeah, like I don't understand it. I just
Yeah.
don't understand it. So, but yeah, the Pistons are fun. I say all that to say the Pistons are fun. If you don't
They
watch
are.
any more basketball teams, watch the Pistons.
Yeah.
They're really fun to watch.
I endorse that as well. Cade is playing well, and Duran's been really good this season too. So
I really wanted Duran back in the day. Really wanted me some Jalen Duran. So
big J Duran. So, all right, man. We have gone an hour. I think we've covered all there is to cover Thunder basketball wise. As we didn't explicitly predict it, but I think we're predicting a New Year's Eve victory against the Portland Trailblazers.
yeah, I don't think we've lost a New Year's Eve game, and I'm not being funny, in like 6 or 7 years. Yeah.
God dang it.
Yeah, you guys got to quit that crap.
Is the last one the Dennis Smith Jr. Mavs team that beat us?
I think so, and that was like at least 5-6 years ago.
Yeah,
it's been a while.
Yeah, that was like 2019, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it's been a while, and I'm going to be at the game. We're having a family game night together, so if you see me out there, say what's up. And yeah, just if you actually, let me specifically say this to everybody. All right, don't be stupid tomorrow, okay? Just don't be dumb. If like my wife's going to be the DD tomorrow, I'm drinking my ass off. But don't be stupid. Just be smart tomorrow. There's so many deaths that happen. Just please be smart. If you get out and decide to partake in the New Year's Eve festivities.
Hey, with FanDuel, we say gamble responsibly. Tomorrow, we want you to drink responsibly, party responsibly, and thunder up responsibly. That's what we're going to say. So, Jerry, with that being said, I just want to wish everybody a great night. God bless hoop when you can. And as always, thunder up.
Thunder up.